If you've used the Roger earpiece, you've probably been pretty disappointed by the range. Maybe 5 feet until the earpiece starts beeping at you saying there's no connection. That's because this thing's designed to be mounted under a newscaster's desk or on a wall in a closed off studio. It even comes with a mounting kit so you can do just that. Now the good news is that the Roger runs on 2.4 gigahertz, which means we can use a 2.4 gigahertz antenna to extend the range. Some key considerations: 2.4 works best when you have line of sight. When you have walls or other obstructions, it's going to seriously impede the signal. In our test, we'll be using 3 different types of 2.4 gigahertz antennas. The first being the antenna that comes with the base station. We've got a generic 3 dBi antenna, and we've also got a 8 dBi directional antenna from Shure. Okay. I am ready for the first test. I've got the base station on. I'm using this battery brick to power the base station. The base station requires very little power, 5 volts, 0.5 amps. So this battery brick can easily do it. I've got the little nub of an antenna on that comes with the base station. I've got my earpiece. The battery is fully breathing. Put this in my ear. I can hear the startup beep. That means we're connected. And so what I'm looking for is the beep, boop, beep, boop. That means it's looking for a connection because it's lost its signal. It lost the signal to the base station. And when I hear that, I am going to hit the cart with this rangefinder. You can ignore the antenna over here. This is actually for my Scorpio, which I'm recording my lav to. This is just to make sure that I can go as far out as possible and still have audio recorded. Okay, and here we go. So right here, I have a connection. So that is 11 yards. That is 11 yards according to my rangefinder. Okay. Not bad, better than I thought it was going to be. For the next test, I am going to put the 3 dBi antenna on. So the best way to do that is you actually just move this antenna right here, counterclockwise, you unscrew it. It is glued onto there. I already have a base station where I did that. It's over here. So I'm just going to put this one away and put the 3 dBi antenna on here. Just screw it on. There you go. Not too tight because I do eventually want to take this off again. Plug the base station back in. Okay, so this is the 3 dBi antenna. Got my rangefinder. I'm gonna start walking back. Let's see, let's just call it right here. So this is 18 yards. I think this is pretty good. I haven't heard a beep in at least 30 seconds, so it means I've got a pretty good connection. I think any further away than this right here, and the connection would start to be unstable. And we'll put this Shure antenna on. So also FYI, this Shure antenna comes with a reverse SMA cable, so something to watch out for. Okay, and our range right here is about 6 yards. I knew this was going to happen because this antenna needs to be powered. We've got our Shure 2.4 gigahertz antenna, and I'm going to attach a 2.4 gigahertz signal booster, aka amp, onto this antenna. And then to power this guy, I'm actually still going to use the same battery brick. Again, this doesn't take much power, so I can safely plug it in here. The light turns blue, and we're good to go. Okay. Not the cleanest setup, but I'm not on set. So let's go. Let's see how far we can go. If I turn my head to the right, then the signal's good. If I turn my head to the left, then there's that beep. I am blocking the signal with my head. But let's just assume in a perfect situation that you have great line of sight. So let's take our distance, 177 yards. I'm calling it right here. So 166 yards, that is the max distance I can say that we can go with the Phonak Roger earpiece with this Shure antenna and an amp connected to it. Do I think it's mandatory for the setup? No, but it just depends on what you're using this for. If you're using this on an open set where you have lots of cameras and people walking in between, other obstructions, and you have to get a good amount of distance down the line, then this is the best setup. Now, keep in mind this antenna is line of sight, right? It's also a directional antenna. So if you move this antenna and I am 166 yards away, if this guy gets moved and points away from my earpiece, from your talent wearing the earpiece, then you could possibly lose connection. And if you're in a very important scene and you're losing that connection between the talent and the director, it can be pretty awkward. A situation that happened to me with this exact setup was we had a earpiece in our host's ear for a big competition TV show. I talked to the director, he lined up his shots, we put the antenna just out of frame, everything was set up. A camera operator thought that the antenna would be in his shot. It was not, but he decided to move it anyway. When he moved the antenna, all of a sudden it went from like this for like 50 feet away from the talent, and he moved it like this. So at basically about that distance, the antenna was shooting out into the ocean, and the talent with the earpiece was standing right here, and the connection was lost. The director was trying to talk to the talent was not responding. It was not a great scenario. Eventually we did figure out what happened, but just something to watch out for. Also note that you can't sync the earpiece with this setup, so if you do need to sync it for whatever reason, you have to pull out the original antenna. It's always a good idea to keep this stuff anyway. You can also use the generic 3 dBi antenna as well. So in conclusion, this is the best setup for the best distance you can do with the Phonak Roger earpiece. But as always, make sure to do all your tests before putting this into action on set. Any other questions, hit me in the comments and I'll try to answer them.